I'm speaking to you as Kyiv in Ukraine is undergoing probably its worst missile attack from the Russian Federation since this horrible war began. Earlier this morning, a children's hospital um, received a direct hit, and I have just heard from a friend in Kyiv that a second hospital has been hit. The death toll in the first hospital has been reported as 20, but that will no doubt rise as hundreds of Kyiv citizens are in the streets digging through the rubble to try and save lives. This happens shortly after Viktor Orban visited Kyiv and Volodymyr Zelensky, no doubt at the behest of Putin, to come forward with some sort of peace proposals. If this is what the Kremlin means by peace, I don't think Ukraine will have any of it. But also, it comes just a day before the annual 2024 NATO summit, which has been held this year in Washington, D.C. Now, I spoke last week about a comment from the State Department saying that Ukraine was simply too corrupt to join NATO. This is patently ridiculous, and it is a horrible slap in the face for the Ukrainians, who were judged only last year by the European Union to be making very significant progress in the area of reforms and corruption. And on that basis, they were admitted into accession talks. So, I've said already that these statements from the White House and from the State Department have Jake Sullivan's hands all over it. So, will we see a change of heart from the United States, who are now, undoubtedly are the major partner in NATO? Although I have already said that I suspect there are one or two other senior members in NATO who are blocking any talk about Ukraine's accession to NATO. And remember, we're not talking about Ukraine joining tomorrow. We're talking about setting out a clear path for Ukraine to join when this horrible war is over. But secondly, and the most important thing, again, the attacks today have been launched. It will be confirmed from military bases inside Russia. We have the ridiculous situation where Ukrainian forces are still not allowed to use American supplied weapons to strike at these military targets from where these murderous attacks are being launched. Could you imagine, and to my British and Irish and European viewers in particular, could you imagine if during the Second World War Britain was forbidden to use American supplied weapons to strike at Nazi targets on mainland Europe? This is absolutely ridiculous. Our leaders have got to find just 1/10 of the courage been demonstrated for the last 30 months by Ukraine, and they have got to find a moral compass, because we simply must untie Ukraine's hands and let them do everything that they need to do to defend themselves. Um, I, for one, shall be watching the progress of tomorrow's NATO summit very, very closely.